Everyone, welcome back to the Awesome Physio YouTube channel. Today's video we are going to be talking about back spasms. A really important thing to talk about before we start this video is what is actually happening with a back spasm. So most commonly what we see in clinic is that the lower back muscles have been overloaded. They suddenly get into a contraction and a guarded position and we struggle to move. So the most common thing, and the muscles are really tight into that lower back area. What can also predispose this is if we've got any inflammation or damage into the facet joints of the lower back. So any of the movement structures in our lower back, so either the facet joints or the discs, if they become injured, that can also cause everything to guard around that lower back. So what's really important, and this is feedback that we've had on our other videos about back spasms, is everybody is different. So the exercises we're going to go through is for a very kind of stereotypical guarded position into that lower back where we feel like we're a bit stuck in a position where we want to gently come back to the center. If you start doing these exercises and it's making it worse or it feels too sore to be able to do this, then go and speak to a musculoskeletal expert first, get it assessed and find out what's right for you. So the first thing that you might want to think about if your back's gone into a bit of a spasm is just putting some heat into the lower back. So this might be with a hot water bottle or a hot bath or a hot flannel where you're going to put heat into the area to get blood flow into there. You could typically hold this for about 5 to 10 minutes just to allow that to relax a little bit before you move. The second thing which you can do standing, which is quite nice to start before we start doing any kind of floor-based stuff, is to just try and take the lower back through its natural vectors of motion. So what you'll find is one way, if you're stuck like this, for example, if it's tightened, you'll find one way is easier than the other to move. So what you want to do is relax the shoulders. You're standing as tall as you can be. A lot of us might be like this. And what you want to do is move within a pain-free range. So even if we're just moving by ½ centimetre, it doesn't matter as we're trying to regain that movement. But if we can go a bit further, what we're going to do for the first exercise, so imagine sliding the hand down the side of the body, is we're just going to gently drop side to side. So again, we're not forcing it, we're not trying to recreate, significant pain, we're just trying to get a bit of movement through there. So that's the first thing we're doing, is just really gently moving side to side for about 10 to 15 seconds. And then relaxing there. We then want to re-encourage flexion and extension. So again, for a lot of people, this might not be possible if it's first gone into that guarded position, but if you can, you're going to drop chin to chest and then just let that body just drop forward a little bit. So getting a little bit of flexion. Again, only go as far as you feel comfortable, okay? As far as you feel like you can go to regain that movement. Then looking up towards ceiling and then just arching back a little bit. So again, we're going in a really controlled way, like we did where we were doing it side to side, and you're just very carefully just adding in that flexion and extension. So again, if it's painful to hear, just reduce the range, just dropping, even for a lot of people, just dropping the chin down and a little bit is enough of a flex position. So you're going to do that for about 10 to 15 seconds, going through that natural range of motion and then coming back to the middle. Next, we want to cross the arms over across the front of the chest, making sure your lower body is fixed. You don't want to be twisting too much through the hips. And again, we're just getting a tiny bit of rotation. So in a minute when we're doing this on the floor, you can regain a little bit of rocking and rotation through knee sways. But, for a lot of people, even getting on the floor is going to be too uncomfortable. So it might be just initially just gently kind of rotating side to side. Like we said, just getting a little bit of movement back into that lower back within a slow, controlled way. And like I said before, doing this for about 10 to 15 seconds within your comfortable. So even if we're here, it doesn't matter, okay? We're just trying to regain a little bit of movement. So the more movement we can get, the more blood flow to the area and hopefully help to start to soften that guarding. Good, and then relaxing back to the middle. The first exercise we're looking at are knee sways, and this is really, really important to allow that optimal movement into the lower back. If your back's gone into a real spasm and it's guarded and it's tight, we want to get as much movement as possible. The issue is a lot of the time when it is really, really tight and sore from an acute spasm, it's very hard to add in that extra movement. So what we want to do is only do this if you can comfortably lie on the floor.
Next, we want to do a one-sided knee hug. You notice with the other leg it's bent up, which adds a bit more stability. It just allows us to get a bit of a stretch through the lower back into that glute. Again, for a lot of people, you might only be able to do the standing exercises that we've shown you already, but it's really important to try and regain a little bit of flexibility through there. If you can, we can then look at a double-sided knee hug where we're stretching through that lower back. And allowing that really nice stretch through the muscles, through the glutes, opening up through the lower back joints, holding it in that position, you know, bringing knees up towards the chest. And then we can then add on for a whole extra layer of movement. Again, for a lot of people with a spasm, this is going to be quite difficult to do, would be to just get a little bit of movement into that lower back. So gently swaying side to side, allowing that to soften, allowing that to relax. And like with all of these exercises, you want to add it in very gently, build it up over time, and then allowing that body to relax there.
As we've mentioned in other videos, and what we always say, is it's very important that you find the right exercises for you. So as an osteopath, and obviously Oliver being an osteopath as well, what we would recommend if someone's coming in with a really bad kind of muscle spasm is having it assessed first. So we want to find out the root cause of what's causing your guarding. You want to find out, you know, do we need hands-on treatment, do we need exercises, or do we need referral? So if you're watching this video and you're struggling, go and speak to an expert first, find out what's right for you, and then we can start to find the best management to get you back on your feet.